boys and girls. This is Mike from Craft Beer Storm, also owner, founder, brewer at Bear Brewing Company in glorious Portsmouth, New Hampshire. Today, we are going to Texas. We are going to Austin, Texas. We're going to speak to Pam Catoe. She's involved with porchdrinking.com. She's one of the editors for the region there. She's also involved in the Pink Boots Society, which helps women in the beer industry. They have just kind of training them and different. They have scholarships, send them to Germany. There's a lot of interesting stuff that's going on. So I wanted to have Pam on. She has a lot of good knowledge about the local area and the business in general. So here we go. Hey guys, this is Mike at Craft Beer Storm, and we are here with Pam Catoe. She is she writes for Craft Beer Austin and Porch. She's editor of porchdrinking.com. She's also a member of Pink Boots Society. So Pam, thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, I'm glad we could connect. We were supposed to do it last week, but then things got shifted around, and but that's life. Life enters in, and what are you going to do? But we got connected this week, so that's cool. So tell me, you're involved in craft beer. I see you're writing and you're doing a lot of things in craft beer. What's your story? How did you get started in craft beer? Like, where are you now? Where are you headed? Maybe you can touch upon that. Maybe to start.
Yeah, sure. So I live in Austin, Texas. And we've got a pretty big burgeoning beer scene here. Doesn't make a lot of headlines just because beer in Texas doesn't really get out of the state of Texas. And even further, beer in Austin doesn't really make it out of Austin. But I've been in the beer scene for a long time. And then in 2015, I ran into the owners of Craft Beer Austin. I'd run into them several times before then. And then we were at a beer anniversary party. Actually, it was a Circle Brewing's party. And they ran into me and said, we see you all the time. You're always in these events. You seem to be really active. How do you feel about writing about beer? And I said, that sounds great. I would love to. Yeah. So we got together and I pitched a couple of ideas, and mine were mainly centered around women in beer, something I've always been passionate about, women in the workplace in general, just being a woman. And they loved the idea. And then, of course, we talked about doing brewery profiles, too. We've got a lot of small breweries in town, new breweries always cropping up. And, getting to go out to those places and kind of talk about who they are, how they got started, what kind of beer styles are they passionate about, what does their brew house look like, and, just providing like details around, are they kid friendly when they're open? And so that's how it all got started with Craft Beer Austin.
Oh, cool. So how many breweries are in, I guess you're Austin focused or the immediate area. How many breweries are in your area there?
Oh, over 60. 60.
Wow.
Yeah.
Man.
And we use the area a little loosely because we've got suburbs and surrounding areas, but yeah, the brew pubs and breweries, there's quite a few. It's definitely growing.
Man, that is concentrated. There's a lot of people. I guess there's a lot of people in Austin. A lot of thirsty people, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So, I thought New Hampshire was bad. I was telling somebody today when I started, 4 years ago, a little bit over 4 years ago, there was like 20 breweries, right, in the whole state, and now there's like 90, right? And
wow.
So it's almost quadrupled, right? So, and I hear 60 in your town, surrounding area. I'm like, all right, that's cool. Well, there's not a big population in New Hampshire anyway, but they do drink, they're always ranked up there. Like, per capita, they drink the most beer in the U.S. It's like between us and Nevada or something like that. I don't know. It always goes back and forth. But, yeah, that's cool. So you're also regional editor for porchdrinking.com. Maybe you can explain a little bit about Porch Drinking.
Yeah, so Porch Drinking is a national publication. Got started by Tristan Chan out in Denver, Colorado. I don't know how long it's been around. I'd have to go look, but they contacted me after I'd been writing for Craft Beer Austin about a year later during South by Southwest and said, "Hey, we noticed again you're really active. We love what you do with Craft Beer Austin. We'd love for you to join the team." And since the focus for Porch Drink is different because it's nationally focused, it was a good opportunity to get some Texas and Austin beer news kind of out to a national audience. So I wasn't, Craft Beer Austin is hyper local focused almost, if you will, and the surrounding area. And we don't even, spend a ton of time talking about Houston or Dallas or San Antonio or any other city. So it was nice to have the opportunity to write a different type of article that would highlight what's happening in Texas.
All right. So then would you expand outside of Austin, or you're like the regional, right? So are you like the Texas editor?
Yeah. So right now, well, I'm the Southwest regional editor. So that means I've got Arizona, New Mexico, Texas.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I've got a larger region of writers. And then part of my job is to then recruit some folks in Texas. So I'm looking to recruit. I think I've got a good line on a San Antonio writer, which is exciting. But I need to get somebody up in North Texas, somebody in Houston, because it's a huge state. There's a lot going on. There's a lot to talk about. And I don't live in those areas right now, so I can't possibly cover all of it. So that's part of my role is to recruit different writers in those in the entire Southwest region, so that we can put a more robust profile of what's happening across those states and on porch drinking.
Hey, I'm looking at this website there. I don't see anybody for New Hampshire.
There may not be.
So
and
maybe,
so we'll be totally interested in recruiting.
Maybe
always.
you should suggest me since I'm
Yeah,
in Portsmouth.
sure.
That would be pretty cool. I would love to do that. I think that's awesome. I've been talking to so many people through this podcast and just connecting with. Most of this stuff is Colorado. Colorado's crazy. Colorado and California are just too. They always win big. Like the GABF, they're always winning. Like those two states, it's crazy.
And we've got a pretty good faction of Chicago writers. There's some Pacific Northwest writers. So Atlanta, we get good coverage there. So they're always looking to recruit good, consistent writers for sure.
Hey, I'd love to be the New England guy.
Okay.
I don't see any New England things here. Yeah, maybe you can put a good word in for me and make it happen.
Sure.
Awesome. So, it's very interesting. I see, there's like about 100 editors here. Most of them are like, it's crazy. But it's very interesting, porchdrinking.com. So, now, the local scene, do you see things like becoming hyper local there? Like you're saying, well, they just focus on Austin beers, or do they focus outside of the, would they buy something from Founders or something like that? Or people talk about that? Or they just talk about maybe local beer and just try to focus on local? Because you have 60 breweries. You must have a load of different styles and things of that nature.
Yeah, I mean, so do you just mean Austin in particular or in general?
Yeah, I mean, Austin, because everything is trending, I guess, hyper local. Like a lot of people used to be, like, I'll use Green Flash, for example, because they make awesome beer, don't get me wrong. But I think, they were kind of out in I think they're out in California. But a lot of people kind of said, well, look, I got a double IPA here in my backyard here at this brewery. I think I'm just going to, I don't know what Green Flash is, and I know where my brewery is here, and kind of everybody just went hyper local and didn't, maybe purchase Green Flash over some local beer. And I think that was kind of, it affected them negatively. And it's affecting a lot of regional breweries and national breweries as well. Everything's trending like hyper local,
Yeah. So I think, I think in Texas as a whole, but especially in Austin, it's just, there's a shift where, breweries are the new bars. And so that's your neighborhood bar is probably your close. In fact, I just stopped off at one on my way home today. That is my neighborhood brewery bar, right? So I think that's part of that trend where people like to know everyone there. They feel at home. They feel comfortable. And then, the other part of that trend for those breweries is that they may have their mainstays, let's say 4 or 5 mainstays, but then they've got all these different beers that they've made that are taproom only, which draws people in, right? Keeps people coming back over and over again. But in terms of a packaged beer buyer, when I go to a retail establishment, and we've got a bunch of really good ones here in town, one in particular I'm just going to call out, it's Witchcraft Bottle Shop. It's one of my favorite places to go. In terms of packaged beer, we're in a different position because we don't get a lot of beers from a lot of different states coming into Austin or into Texas in general. We have very restrictive laws, and so they make it kind of painful for people to come in. So I love going to a place like Witchcraft where I can get local beers on tap, and then at the same time shop these beers that I may not get. We just got Bell's, what was it, 2 years ago, year and a half ago? Bell's came into Texas finally. Up until then, if I wanted to two-heart it, I had to enjoy it at an airport while I was traveling, right?
Wow.
So I think for sure people love to be able to pick up, and there's still some breweries that aren't in town. I couldn't get a heady topper if I felt like it, right?
Wow.
So I think people really do enjoy when they're packaged beers, especially getting to get some of those beers that are wildly popular in other places, but we just don't get a chance to get them.
I didn't realize that about Texas, but states are weird, man. They do,
we have
state by state. It's just too much. It's too much, but I wish they could all get together and well, hopefully, we'll trend that way. But you say heady topper.
We're fighting a battle right now with our legislators. So the Guild, which is made up of a lot of independent Texas craft brewers, got together last year after we got slapped in the face with some painful legislation, and they created something called Craft PAC, which is a political action committee. And so we're looking for a big win in our legislative session right now on beer-to-go sales from production breweries. We're the last state in the union that forbids beer-to-go sales with the 3-tier system. So if you come to a production brewery in Texas and you are traveling and visiting and you're like, oh, this is great. You can go to a winery and say, oh my gosh, this is great. I'm having a great time. I'm going to take this wine home with me. You can go to a distillery and do the same thing. You can go to a brew pub and do the same thing. But if you go to a production brewery in Texas, you cannot leave with any of their beer.
See, that's crazy. Yeah.
It's crazy, but we've got some bipartisan legislation and a lot of support, even from Big Distributors Alliance. So we're hoping that that's going to change. But those are just one of the very few issues that we deal with here in Texas. We've got some strange laws. So.
Wow. Yeah, it's just bizarre. Even shipping beer. I did a podcast with somebody who's building a platform to try to connect brewers directly with consumers. And there's only 9 states that'll allow it, right? Out of the 50.
Yeah, can't ship it to Texas.
It's ridiculous. It's a felony. Like if you go and ship beer. I know speaking of Heady Topper, I had John Kimmick on the show. He's the founder of Heady Topper, of The Alchemist, actually, which makes Heady Topper. And then some lady out in Vermont, bought a bunch of Heady Topper, and she was selling it online.
Oh, dang.
And the police went to her house and arrested her and she said, "You're done." Felony, right?
That's pretty illegal, though.
But but it's stuff like that. But like Amazon, I could put, whatever. You could buy probably wine at Amazon. Well, now they're with Whole Foods. That's just going to be a juggernaut. It's going to be like food on demand. But you can ship wine wherever you want, man. It's like from wherever. A winery can just ship it wherever they want.
Well, and I don't know how many people know this, but we can't buy liquor on Sundays in Texas.
You can't. Oh, there's the blue laws.
Yeah, we've got just a myriad of very strange regulations.
I think New Hampshire had that. New Hampshire had that for a while, or states, but now they still have the state-run liquor stores in New Hampshire. Like you can't buy, liquor. Like hard alcohol in regular stores. It's like you have to go to the
same in
State.
Texas.
It's
in
the
fact,
same thing.
Yeah, when I travel and I see that, I saw liquor in a Walgreens. I was like, what? Our
It's
Walgreens
like
didn't
bizarre,
start
right?
carrying, yeah, our Walgreens didn't start carrying beer until about 5 years ago.
It's bizarre. New York was like that too. I think when I was a kid or something, they weren't selling wine in stores. Like they didn't even sell wine. And I went to another state and I'm like, oh man, there's wine in this store. How come? It's bizarre. But now it's things change, and I think eventually everything will kind of mesh together, and states will come on board. I don't understand why they don't want to ship it to their state. They'll probably tax it and they'll get revenue, right?
Exactly.
Right? I don't understand. I don't get it. It's a lobby thing. Some lobby is behind the scenes doing their thing. I don't like lobbies. I don't like them. All right. Anyway, but another thing you're involved with is the Pink Boots Society. Maybe you want to expand on that a little bit.
Yeah. So I assume you've heard of Pink Boots Society from your podcast before, yes?
I believe so. Yeah, that was the
Okay.
the one in Oregon, right? Was that it or no?
No, it's a national organization.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
actually, it's actually international at this point.
Okay.
So there's chapters all over the world, and it was founded by Terry, and I will say her last name incorrectly, so I won't say it. A long time ago, and it basically is the Society for Professional Women in the beer industry.
Okay.
And it was established to assist, inspire, and encourage women beer professionals through education.
Right.
So what that means is you have chapter leaders all over the country and again, internationally. And then those chapter leaders, you're charged a membership fee to join Pink Boots. That money goes then to your chapter and also to the national organization. And they fund various scholarships.
Uh-huh.
And so you can apply to do a Siebel Institute class. There's Cicerone certification classes. There's trips to Germany. There's all sorts of different scholarships that are offered throughout the year via Pink Boots, and the women that are members, that are active members, get to apply for those. So aside from that, we just held the biennial conference in Austin, which was really fantastic. I will absolutely give a shout out to Laura Christie, who attended the first Pink Boots conference in San Diego and met up with the president, Laura Ulrich, and said, hey, I'd love to bring this to Austin. And she worked with the board tirelessly and did that exact thing. And so we had a 3-day conference here. It was fantastic.
Wow.
And what's happening right now that's really important that people should know about is the big Pink Boots Brew Collaboration Day is going on at lots of different breweries. There's a map on the website you can click on, and you can see that there's literally hundreds of these brew day collaborations happening across the world. And what that is Pink Boots members gather at a local brewery, and there's a hop that was by Yakima Chief Hops. They did a special Pink Boots blend. You could buy that hops blend, brew whatever style beer you want at your brewery, invite Pink Boots members to come participate, and then the release of that beer, when it gets released, some of the proceeds will go back to benefit the Pink Boots organization. That's
cool. Yeah, I see the website now, and they have like Loral, Glacier, Sabro, Simcoe, Mosaic, a lot of good stuff. And they made that blend. Yeah, Yakima Chief. Awesome.
That was a really big partnership for us, for sure. So the organization continues to grow, continues to get more and more members. As you can imagine, with some of the news that's been going around, it's, the beer industry is just like any other industry with different issues happening with equalities. And so, this is really important for us in the beer world.
I think that'd be cool. I would like to do something like that. Maybe do like three barrels of it or something, and then you launch it. Yeah. I have a brewery as well. I don't know if you know that. This is the Bear Brewing Company.
I do. Yeah.
The established brewery in Portsmouth, in glorious Portsmouth, New Hampshire. I keep saying, but we've been around for 4 years. So I can figure it out. Yeah, if you want to connect me with somebody, that'd be pretty cool. I would like to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. I can send you the website. You could still order the hops. They're still available.
All right.
You don't necessarily have to build an event at this point. I mean, you could
Oh,
just brew a beer, like you said.
brew a beer, put it on, and then give a portion of the
Yeah,
proceeds to the Pink Boot Society.
exactly.
That's cool. That's great. Yeah, we love to do that. We love to support organizations. We did a fundraiser for American Cancer Society. Actually, I'm doing the marathon, New York City Marathon, through them.
Nice.
So yeah, there's ways to get into the marathon. So I said, let me do a charity, and they were able to get me a spot in the marathon, which is awesome. So I'm supposed to raise 3,200. So I'm just going out on a limb, and I'm going to multiply by 10 because I'm 10x. I don't know if you know what 10x means. It's an awesome concept. Grant Cardone, you just put it out there. He says, whatever you do, just multiply by 10, and then
Right.
you'll reach your goal. So I'm going to shoot for 32,000. We'll see what happens. I got a couple months, so I'm okay. But we'll try to
Great.
aim that way. And but I like that idea about the hop blends. Wow, man, people would probably really like that. So that'd be cool. And if there's someone there that you want to connect me with, I don't know if is there a president or something of it?
Yes, we have a board of directors. So president, vice president, the whole full board.
Yeah, we
For sure. And
we can have them on the podcast too if you want. If you can.
I think that would be great.
Yeah.
I mean, for sure, interviewing
Absolutely.
each one of them or all of them or whatever. Yeah, that'd be awesome.
That'd be cool. Wow, awesome. So, in talking, we connected. I believe we connected through LinkedIn. You're a Texas native, right?
Basically, I was born in Florida, but I lived there only 3 years. So I was raised in Houston.
All right, great. Austin,
Yeah.
I keep hearing good things about Austin. Like everybody lives there. It's a great place. And I've never been there, but I mean, I guess you have good things to say about it.
Definitely. And I do not have good things to say necessarily about other cities in Texas. So
Oh my God.
Austin is amazing.
I think we'll just we'll release this just in Austin. And that's it. Texas is it's a big, they do things big there. Oh, Texas is good. I went into Dallas. Where did I go to Dallas and then stayed outside of Dallas. Yeah, but it's a huge state. Yeah, I haven't had really a lot of time.
There's a lot of really great places and a lot of really not so great places, but definitely for sure, Austin is the best.
Yeah, I got to check it out. A lot of people live there, like influencers and really solid people live there. So I got to check it out. So now, do you use like local ingredients in your beer there? Do people trend toward the local thing?
Well, so we have Blacklands malts, which is a maltster here, but right now there's no active hop growers. I know that there's some coming onto the scene, hydroponic hop growers coming onto the scene. But as of right now, no, not really, because it's just the climate here is
right. I'm not sure what the climate is to grow things, right?
Ordinarily
is it hot?
hot.
Is it
Yeah.
hot? Okay. Like I was going to say, like
Extremely hot.
up here, it's temperate and, it gets cold and hot, but so that people can, they have bees, honey bees. We use honey, maple syrup we use, things of that nature. So, in your area, I guess there's not that too many.
Yeah, there's some apiaries, and we've got Meridian Hive Meadery is out here.
Right.
I'm not entirely sure if they use local honey, but I would imagine that they do. Texas Keeper might also use some local honey, but we do have apiaries for sure. But in terms of malt and hops, it's very limited.
See, you know what an apiary is. I talked to the honey. Actually, I had the guy I get the honey from, and he's like, yeah, apiary. I'm like, what's an apiary again? So I guess you know what the apiary. But it's, this guy knows everything about bees. He's like a CB Honey, Joe Martella. He's awesome. He just knows, it's just unbelievable the knowledge that he has. And he gets bees from outside of the state and brings them up, and then the queen bee, and then they make the colony out of that, and it's unbelievable. What bees can do, but have you seen any challenge? I guess you talk to brewers as well, right? And you go into breweries, and any challenges that they're facing that you see? I know. I guess it varies, but what are some of the challenges that they're going through?
Well, right now it's again goes kind of back to the beer laws and the restrictions here. We have an additional level of label approvals through the TABC that every brewery has to go through. So whenever and if you're getting your brewing permit, you've got to go through TABC. So there's some like red tape paperwork stuff that I think is challenging for people that are getting up and running or people that are trying to grow. But in terms of like really big challenges, let me think. I think that, well, we've had several big brewery closures happening, and some of them were just, I mean, they happened because just of a series of, I almost want to say bad luck. Like things just went bad very quickly.
Yeah.
So in general, we've got a few very large players, and right now what seems to be doing very well is either the very big or the very small. Kind of those medium growers in the middle that are trying to get
you see that trend. You see that trend. The big have like all this money and they can just squash stuff and just throw money at it and fix it. And the small guys are very, hyper local, and people love the neighborhood breweries, and they go in and buy beer and they're cool with that. They don't need millions of dollars. They have a passion. But the middle guys, it's like, all right, well, where do we fit in?
Yeah, they're struggling.
Yeah.
Well, not all of them, but I mean, it's definitely,
nice. I keep seeing
market.
That trend. Yeah. People that they start small and then they grow bigger, and then.
But the really big, I mean, the ones I'm most familiar with. So Sandlot Brewing Company, Live Oak Brewing Company, Real Ale, they've all been around 26, 23, 22 years.
Right.
They have all gone through organic growth. And I think that's helped a lot. As opposed to, kind of getting ahead of yourself from a cash flow perspective and maybe trying to expand too fast or grow too quickly. I think that's really helped that they've, stood the test of time and just kind of paced their growth. And now they're doing really well, and they're very big, and they're doing great. Right. So those guys are really successful. But yeah, I think the trend I'm seeing right now, just from who I've been interviewing in terms of who's coming and opening now, are more of the smaller. In fact, the one I just interviewed was Nomadic Brewworks. That's going to go in South Austin, and they're starting off with a 7-barrel system.
Right.
So they're just doing the definite tiny hyper local, open for lunch, come join us for happy hour kind of a thing.
Yeah, I mean, I have a 7-barrel system. That's what we started with, and then sometimes, like I say, we make half of that, like half batches, and just throw it out there, and people like the interesting stuff. Or if, I scaled up. I was a home brewer. I did 5 gallons, and then I scaled up to like 200. It worked out eventually. Thank God, knock on wood, it worked out well. But I think, starting small is it's a way. If you start too big, you just don't know what's going to happen. You can make beer and it could just sit there, or then you get distributors who are like, I don't know if I'm going to sell this, and you just get caught. And then you have to pay the bank, and if you're not selling beer, it's just, I've seen too many breweries go down that road, and it just never. Sometimes it works out well, but most of the time it's like, wow, they have a lot of issues. Do you think there's like a craft beer bubble that we're in? Or do you think there's still room for growth?
I think there's plenty of room for growth. My personal opinion is that if you've got a good business plan, you know what your brand is, you understand your market, you've got a good product, then there's definitely a market for you. If you come onto the scene because you think you want to start a brewery and you don't have a good business plan or good business sense, and you don't make a good product, then you're going to go out of business. I mean, I think it's that simple.
Yeah, I mean, we're constantly shifting here. I mean, packaging is ridiculous, right? Like, it's the same liquid. Like, originally we did we do the 22-ounce bottles, right? They're awesome, and it was great. You take it out of the box, you just sanitize it, fill it, cap it with a cap that's less than 1 cent, and then you put a label on it and put it back in the box. It's ready to go. Now there's like, everybody wants cans, like these 16-ounce cans. It's ridiculous. You got to buy 3,000 at a time, sanitize them, and then we do things manually here. I don't have a canning line. Canning lines cost like $50,000, which I don't have. Right. But I had to get into cans, so I started doing cans, and very manual process, and It's just, I'm like, I can't do this anymore. I'm not making any money on it. So I just stopped doing canning. And now I'm going back into bottles. I'm trying to reverse the trend. So maybe with this podcast, we'll reverse the trend. Probably make a lot of brewers. We make a lot of brewers happy, you know. A lot of these smaller breweries, I don't know what they're doing. They have 3-barrel systems, and I see cans in the stores. I'm like, how can you make any money off of that? It's ridiculous, you know. But I guess people want it in that package, so we're trying to educate people. Like, look, buy it in a bottle. It's the same product, you know. It's okay. Bottles are good, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so, you know, in closing, what would you say to people, like if they're drinking, you know, larger, big beers? Like, why would you want them to drink local craft beers? Like, what would you say to try to get them to do that?
Well, I think in Austin especially, we've got really high quality brewers here. So aside from having a pleasant atmosphere, because in 2013 they allowed brew pubs to sell beer on site, and so the laws got changed. For breweries to sell beer on site. And then tap rooms started popping up, where before that we just had these big warehouses and you could exchange a token for a free beer. So now we've got beautiful tap rooms popping up all over the place. They're pleasant. There's food. There's really good high quality beer. I think that it makes the case for itself, really.
That's awesome. I must come down there. I just keep hearing good things about Austin. And now you have great beer, too. So it's going to be like a no-brainer. I got to go. There's a lot of places I got to go, Pam. I tell everybody. I talk to people in China. Yeah, I'm going to be there in China. I interviewed a guy who's a brewer, actually, at Goose Island in China, in Shanghai. That was pretty cool. I had to get up really early. I got up at I started at 7 a.m. in the morning, and I had my coffee, and it was like 8 p.m. there, and he had his beer, so it was pretty cool. It was fun. But yeah, Pam, I appreciate you being on. Thank you for taking the time and elaborating on the Austin beer scene and porchdrinking.com. I should be the Northeast editor. I think that'd be cool. We'll have to work on that. We'll work on that with them. But yeah, I appreciate what you're doing, and please, maybe our paths will cross. Are you going to be at the Craft Brewers Conference or no?
I am not sure yet. Still, I may or may not be there. Not sure.
I got a media pass because I'm a podcaster and I'm media. That's awesome. I'm excited. I haven't been before, and I'm really looking forward to meeting everybody and just getting a lot of good knowledge and talking to a lot of people, like a lot of really high quality brewers and founders of really quality institutions and knowledge. It should be awesome. All right, Pam. Thanks again. Take care.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Hey, yeah, that was Pam Catoe of Austin, Texas, and she writes for Craft Beer Austin. She's an editor for porchdrinking.com. I have loads of people on there. It was interesting websites and involved in the Pink Boots Society that helps women brewers and women in the beer industry. I think it's fantastic. They have a hop blend. I would like to try it. Maybe make a beer out of it, and then we'll give a donation back to the Pink Boots Society. I think it'd be cool. But a lot of good stuff. So, guys, if you like what you're hearing, if you like our podcast, please go on to iTunes, subscribe, leave us a rating, leave us a review. That's the only way we get up in the rankings. Tell a friend about us. Our downloads are going up, which is awesome. I'm happy. But I think that's because you guys are just, you're spreading the word about us, and we're giving you some quality guests, and we're bringing you information 3 times a week. On Monday, we have brewers and movers and shakers in the industry, like Pam. And then on Wednesdays, we go through the GABF, Great American Beer Festival list of beers. That in the competition, there's about 102 of them, and then they have subcategories, so there's loads of stuff to talk about, so we pick one a week. And then on Friday, we go through craft beer news, what's the latest beer news of the week, and usually I have somebody sharing those with me, and then we get their opinions and get my opinion. just talk about it. There's a lot of stuff in the beer industry. It's just a very interesting industry. Every day is just something new, and you're like, wow. It's never a dull moment, So, so that's our podcast for today. I appreciate you coming and listening, and have a great rest of the day. We'll see you on Wednesday. Take care.